And now we are live.
Wow. So, oh, that's how you do lower thirds.
Yes, you found the Hangouts toolbox.
I did.
Very cool. What are we looking at on your side of the things? Where are you?
Oh, this is my room.
Your room has a second room attached to it?
Yes, it does.
That's awesome. You have a suite.
Oh, okay. I'm getting delay. Okay.
What's the matter? Hello?
Hold on. There we go. I had to mute the other thing because I was watching the our live chat. But yes. I was getting the delay and it was like
It's like the speech jammer challenge.
Mm-hmm.
We are already joined in the chat by Francie. Hi, Francie.
Hi.
All right. I'm going to start off by playing my theme music here. So let me do that. Excellent. That's enough of that. And I'm also going to go to my second page and stop that. Okay. Yeah, all right. So thank you, people who are watching right now, which might be just Francie, and then people who tune in later on for tuning in for another PaulCast live show. I am Paul Roth from the PaulTalks channel. That's youtube.com/Paul Roth, R-O-T-H. I am joined this week. I am co-hosted this week by my friend, the very famous musician from Static Cadets. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Kiku Marie. I'm from Static Cadets, and I work part-time at a Joann's.
Excellent. Hooray. And Kiku Marie is in California right now. I'm in Washington, D.C. right now. So we are experiencing both sides of the country's weather at the moment.
It's hot.
It's muggy over here. It's muggy. I specifically decided to turn around and face this angle in my living room so that you can see out the window and my dog. You can see my dog and out the window. And it's raining. You can't really tell very well through the window, but it's raining nonstop out there. Yeah, I can see I can see a river of flood outside my window. Oops.
God, we haven't had real rain in so long. It's like holes over here.
Oh, good reference. Back when Shia LaBeouf was famous.
Back when Shia LaBeouf was famous.
Francie says she loves your hair.
I love Francie.
Everybody loves Francie. That could be the name of a web series. Everybody loves Francie.
That's so true. I forget she's like German because like I only read her like typing, and then like I watched her videos and I was like, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, even though she's a native German speaker, I sometimes forget because she speaks English so well and she edits her videos so well.
Yeah, I know.
So I normally I talk to people who are my friends who are vloggers, who are part of like the VidCon community, who engage in all this like YouTube-based stuff. Now you are a vlogger. You just did VEDM in May. Is that right?
Yeah. That was
that was impressive.
That was really rough because I started my job like almost as soon as I started Video Everyday May. And I only work night shifts because, like, I worked school and stuff like that. That was rough.
That is tough. I mean, I had a difficult time doing a vlog every day April on top of my day job, but I didn't have a second thing that was also taking up my time.
Yeah, especially because like I don't know, like of course you would know because I wouldn't been posting on Twitter, but like my Joanne's has been going through a lot of management problems lately. And so like everyone's getting fired and like everyone's like, well, like you're gonna stay like extra shifts and extra hours because our store's like going to hell and we need somebody here. And I'm like, yeah, I'll stay.
I mean, I guess that's good for you, right? You get more hours, you get more pay.
Mm-hmm. That is true. The only problem is I can only work 28 hours a week, or else I sign myself off as a full-time employee, and if I do too many of those, then I'm a full-time employee, and I get in trouble for doing too many of those.
So was Vlog Everyday May your first like consistent attempt at vlogging? Hello?
Paul, you froze.
Oh no, did I freeze? I can see you. Can you see me? Hello?
I can see you. You're turning into like a robot.
I'm not a robot.
Maybe if I disable HD, maybe that's me. It's because I'm using too much bandwidth. Maybe it's me. Are we good?
I can see you and hear you just fine. I've been able to see you throughout.
All right. Yeah, you're freezing up on me, but I think we'll be good now.
How do you change your bandwidth?
If you go to that little like bar on the top next to the camera and next to the microphone, on the very top it says adjust bandwidth usage.
Ah.
And right now I have a medium.
Gotcha. I will also pull it down to medium.
Let's see if that works.
See if that's any better. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're not lagging anymore. I think.
Cool. Excellent.
All right, cool.
You just saw me something. I never looked at the bandwidth thing at the top. I saw everything else. Francie in the chat said that she could hear us both all throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, I figured like we were both going fine, but like if I can't hear you or vice versa, then our live chat is just us going.
Blah, blah. What? Yes, I know.
Yep.
Let's see here. So what I was asking you was Vlog Everyday May your first foray into being a consistent vlogger?
Yes, it was my first like consistent vlogging thing.
And have you been vlogging very much since then? I know you had a couple of vlogs up here and there before May.
Yeah, no, I haven't, and I just like it's because like I said, like our manager got fired, and like everyone in our top management got fired at our store, so I've been working many hours.
Yikes!
Yeah. Oh, it was ugly.
I believe it.
There's nothing quite like coming into your minimum wage job and just like everyone, they pull you aside and they're like, yeah, so like 3 people got fired today. So
that would be horrible.
Yeah, and like you're just like, oh, and they're like, yeah, like 3 people got fired today, and like they're looking at firing all the management. So yeah.
Yikes. So I just my phone had freaked out like a few days ago. So I had to reinstall everything. I wiped all the software, reinstalled everything, and that means that my my Instagram, where I was going to share a photo I just took of us, isn't set up correctly, and I don't remember. I don't remember all my passwords. I have too many passwords.
Oh, yeah, because like you have like different eras of password, and so you're like, was it? Oh, that's me. Like I have like different eras of password, and I'm just like,
So I'm trying very quickly to type in my passwords here to see if I can get this to work. And then, oh, I did it. All right, good. That was like my 3rd attempt at a password. Oops.
Anytime you have like a password lockout where it's like, you attempted to log in too many times, I'm just like, I hate you.
Those are the worst. Why would you have that on anything besides like federal
money
databases? Anything else, you don't need that. It's okay. We're just forgetful. That reminds me, the other day I saw somebody on, I think it was on, I froze up again? Hello? Hello?
Am
I back?
There we are. You're back.
I have pretty fast internet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe
trying to
it's
like
the
find
weather.
like any kind of, maybe it is the weather. I'm trying to like any kind of setting that I can like, you know,
Turn
set,
off. I
turn
understand.
off, or
Whenever that's something I actually probably should have prompted you on. I didn't realize you hadn't done these before, but what I tend to do is before I do a live show, I'll go into my Chrome browser, which is where I run all this, and I will turn off every single extension, all of them, because they all just like slow down my computer so bad.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. And
That's
then I
probably
restart.
why everything's not working.
Do you have a lot of Chrome extensions?
I do. I have
That
too
might be
many.
the culprit then.
Yeah. Let me just go ahead and extensions.
I mean, God bless Google bless Google for having this fantastic functionality that we can have Hangouts for free and broadcast them for free. But yeah, it takes up a lot of processor speed.
Disabled all of them, so maybe now it'll work.
I mean, you seem fine from my side.
Yeah, right. I think it'll allow me to watch you. That'd be nice.
Cool.
Rad. Okay.
Francie, you're watching us in the chat. Do you have any questions for us? Fling them our way.
Yeah, people, all 6 of you.
6 people at the beginning of this is a pretty darn good turnout for one of my live shows. I usually get like around 6 at a time throughout, but like overall the entire viewing, maybe like 12 to 20 people.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is just the way of it, because my analytics say that most of my viewers are in the UK and California. So the people in California might tune in, but the people in the UK, this is getting pretty late for them. This is like 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
8:30.
Yeah. All you California viewers, this is pretty early for them, especially because it's summer break.
Yes. And especially if they're young, they're just bums and sleeping in forever.
Oh, yeah.
I say that like the bad thing, but if I didn't have a day job and if I didn't have like, I don't know, a weird, like I want to accomplish things. I feel like a bad adult if I'm not productive. If I didn't have that hanging over my head, I would still be in bed right now. I just like say, F it. I'm not going to do anything else in the middle of the day. What the heck?
I have such an issue with staying in, like, not an issue in terms of, like, anyone who can do it, I'm like, kudos to you, but, like, I have to at least get out of bed and, like, get dressed. Otherwise, I do feel a little bit disgusting. How did you celebrate yesterday's marriage equality news?
Question.
That's a good question.
Did you do anything else?
I didn't. I mean, I'm super, like, cis straight, so, like, I was just very excited for my friends, but... like, I didn't personally feel like I was even really allowed to, like, celebrate too much because I was, like, I'm happy for my friends, but, like, I felt like I was stepping in a space that, like, I wasn't.
Understandable. I think that, it's like going to somebody's birthday party. It's their birthday, so you can say, happy birthday, help them celebrate. The thing you have to do is avoid making it about you. As long as you make it about them, it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what was kind of my whole mentality. And plus, like, I have a lot of, like, trans friends and all that. So my focus was marriage equality is great, but we still have so much more to do. So, like, don't Macklemore and just fade away after that.
Yes, don't Macklemore. That's generally a good piece of life advice.
Just don't be Macklemore. Just don't.
Don't Macklemore. Be Mary Lambert. Don't be Macklemore. There you go.
Exactly.
I mean, I worked. I had a work day. So from 9 till 7 p.m. I was working, but online I was celebrating. I was posting on Tumblr and Facebook and Twitter. I was posting on Twitter constantly, actually. I was like retweeting and liking everything. But out in like offline, it was a rainy day yesterday as well. Didn't do much of anything.
Just sitting there at your job, just like, yay, marriage equality.
Yes. I will say, I spent the entire day thinking, is it work appropriate for me to post on our internal CRM a huge like banner saying, woo for same-sex marriage, woo for marriage equality? I ended up not doing it because I think there are a couple of conservative people at my company, and
right.
I don't know. It's not worth it.
Yeah, no, because like even if like your job's not in trouble, like just getting in those arguments sometimes I find very exhausting.
It is exhausting, and the annoying thing is that I don't know. I don't know if my boss, like, I don't think he is anti-rainbow community, but I've never heard him say anything that was pro rainbow community rights. So
Right.
I like my job, and that sucks. I'll protest in general. I don't mind going near my company in Baltimore and walking around outside and protesting stuff. I'll do that. But like inside the company,
right.
like I have a dog to pay for and stuff. Got responsibilities.
Yeah, I totally sympathize with that. Yeah.
Cat in the Garden joins us, and I am not sure who Cat in the Garden is. Wait, is that Cat Black? No. There are so many people I know named Cat.
Do you know Cat Black?
I do.
Really?
My friend. We're not like buds. We don't like hang out or anything. But I know her online, and we chat a couple times.
That's cool, because my friend, like, that's her favorite YouTuber.
It should be. She should be pretty much everybody's favorite YouTuber. She's great.
Yeah, my friend Lucy, like, she's the one who yesterday, she posted the funny, I mean, it wasn't funny, the status was really serious, but at the end of her status, she was just like, hashtag legalize my trans ass, and I was just like, because she's talking about, like, you know, marriage equality is great, but, like, as a trans person, like, there's so many things, and then she just ends it with hashtag legalize my trans ass, and I was like,
good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I saw, at one point she was tweeting throughout the day about how she had, basically for most of her life, like since she was a kid, she's been like taking actions in favor of marriage equality. So it's not like she's not happy about it. She is, but it's 2015. We've all been kind of fighting for this for decades now, and it's like, why did it take so long? Why did it take so long? So it's kind of hard to be like completely 100% over the moon about this when it seems like it's such an obvious thing to do, to like not, it's basically just not to get in the way of marriage. That's all people have to do. Just don't get in the way of it.
Well, like, yeah, I think that's true, because I know, like, it's kind of weird comparing it to, like, interracial marriage, but it isn't, in the sense of, like, it's kind of a similar concept, and, like, you think that was only legalized 40-something years ago. I mean, you think that would have been sooner, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Marriage is weird. Like, people are really sensitive about, like, they'll be like, you're equal and that's fine, but like, you can't get married.
I think that it's because, I mean, I'm no expert in this or anything, but I feel like it's because marriage seems to be an inherent component of being a loving human being. Like like the church teaches people that a significant portion of life is to grow up, to fall in love, to get married, and to have a family. Like, that is the recipe for life, according to most religious institutions. You grow up, you get married, you fall in love. Actually, the fall in love part is kind of optional, but you get married, and then you have a family.
And then you get married. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like a part of how you define someone in a church. A someone is someone who can do that. So when somebody who has particular beliefs, and not everybody feels this way in like the Christian church, not everybody feels this way in other religious organizations, but if you feel a particular way about a religious institution, and then you say, well, I respect you, you know, I have love for you in my heart, but I don't want you to do this thing that I define as a component of being a human being, then that second part of your statement is the truth. The first part of your statement is bullshit.
Right. Yeah, I definitely, I agree with that.
And so that's what it is. So everybody wants to, especially in various Christian denominations. In Christian denominations, the word love is thrown around a lot. You're supposed to love in Christianity. So that's what you say. You say you love your fellow man. You love those gay people over there, but you don't want them to do things that would make them a part of your humanity. Because even though Christianity says you should love, you don't really feel that way about them because of various discriminatory things inside of your head. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
especially.
you're not wrong. I think because I went to I'm Methodist, and I went to a Methodist conference a couple years ago, and I went to just the regional conference, and they were saying that internationally they were having issues because the kind of northwest region that I'm part of, we were very pro like gay marriage and like whatever, but like you get international, and they're still following beliefs that are centuries old even within the Methodist Church, and they're going, well, no, you invaded our country, you forced us to follow this religion, and you told us these rules, and now you're changing them on us again. Like, what are you trying to do? It was a very interesting discussion to have because, like, I mean, they're absolutely right. You forced us to follow these religious rules, and now you're telling us that we're wrong and we shouldn't be following the religious rules you told us to follow. It was very, very strange.
I mean, that is a logical point, but it's not a particularly relevant or significant point. That's like saying, well, you used to tell me that I couldn't. I don't know. You tell me that I couldn't go out on dates, but now that I'm older, I can go out on dates. How does that make any sense? Just because time passed? I mean,
I think, yeah, no, I think like you're right, and like I definitely was still like it doesn't really matter, but I did find that an interesting point to make. I think in terms of these foreign Methodists, where they were, I guess, foreign to me because they were like, well, you know, quit being assholes, I guess was their point. And it was a good point to make. Like, this wasn't our original religion, and now you're like, you're making us follow this religion, and now you're making us follow all these new rules that we don't really agree about. And I'm just like, you're wrong, but that's a good point to make.
I think that the underlying important concept in that statement is don't force people to do things. Don't force people to follow religions. Don't force people to change their behaviors later on. Don't force people to do things. In the chat, Francie points out that Germany still isn't there with marriage equality. I saw Francie tweeting about that a couple times yesterday. That sucks. I mean, it's weird. Like, on the one hand, why didn't the United States have this before? On the other hand, it's surprising that there are any countries who are behind us.
Right.
I loved that pattern that you kept on seeing on Twitter and on Tumblr, on Facebook, about people posting, well, now that we have got marriage equality, I'm going to leave the United States and go to
Canada?
some other country that already has marriage equality, whether that's like Canada or the UK or New Zealand. Like, people were like naming countries, and they were just kept being wrong.
I remember like when Obama got reelected, all my friends were like, I'm going to move to Canada. And I'm like, because of the free healthcare or the gay marriage? Because who's going to tell them first, guys?
Yeah. The whole moving to Canada thing was kind of reasonable back in like the 70s when you wanted to flee, basically when you wanted to flee the onset of the of social justice issues coming to the forefront of the 80s. Like, the 80s were kind of cool with regards to the onset of equality. Like, if you look at like TV shows and movies from the 80s, the crowds are all remarkably diverse. Nobody gives a poop about anybody's anything, whether your orientation, who you love or who you have sex with, your race and ethnicity. Nobody cares about any of that. They're all just like hanging out and partying throughout the 80s. Admittedly, everybody got STDs and died, but still, the diversity was fantastic. In the chat, Cat in the Garden says, the thing about gay marriage that is so important in this is this can help with hospital visitation rights, child custody rights, spousal benefit rights, blah, blah, blah. Some people saying that same-sex couples not being able to get married isn't that big of a deal. It is a big deal.
Yeah, no, I don't know if any of my previous statements maybe would have wanted to make you think that I was thinking that, because it's not it. I think my whole thing was just like, don't be a Macklemore. Like, now that we have gay marriage, because that's what a lot of, I guess, straight allies think. They think it's just, oh, marriage equality, and then like, we're done. Thank you, my gays, and I can ascend now to a higher plane.
And I mean, on the one hand, it is absolutely the case that rainbow community allies should be learning more about these concepts in order to be good allies, but it's not as if the mainstream media hasn't pushed that message. I mean, look at the Human Rights Campaign, HRC.
Yeah.
They are big about marriage equality. Do they say big things about trans rights? I don't think so. Do they talk about, gender identification issues with regards to access to bathrooms, access to healthcare? Not that I don't think so. Do they talk about the plight of sex workers who aren't straight and cis? Nope. Do they hear about undocumented immigrants who aren't straight and cis? Nope. So,
or even just like homeless like youth, like marriage equality is obviously very important, but like that's not gonna get them off the street. Like I think that's something we have to like talk about as well.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Thank you for bringing up these points, Kat, in the garden. One thing that I will say, kind of like flagging something that you said, is we shouldn't call this gay marriage because, you know, bisexual people, pansexual people, asexual people, they can all be getting married to someone who is the same apparent sex as them. Marriage equality is for all of them. It's not just for gay people. And I don't think that's what you meant, but that is like, I try to nip that term in the bud, you know?
Right. Lady Gaga, and she invented the gays.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. Maybe it's problematic for me to think this way, but I always love when like people make jokes about like, and now the gays are free, like the gays, capital the gays. Like, I always enjoy that terminology. Like, it's a great.
It's absurd. It's funny because it's absurd. It's not funny because it's accurate. It's funny because it's ridiculous.
And like, you know, other people genuinely believe that way. Like the gays are free now. Like.
Yeah, I don't like that terminology at all because it is logistically exactly the same as the blacks or the Jews.
Right.
These are things that you should not be saying. It is always descriptor people.
Yep.
Gay people. That's how we talk about these people. They're gay people. And then not just gay people either. They are all sorts of people in the rainbow community. Let's see. Francie asked the question, if you could live in any country, where would you want to move to?
That's a good question. Oh, I think I don't know. Like for as much shit as I do talk about America, and like we're a problematic country, I generally enjoy living here. Like I don't know, maybe Canada. I'd move to Canada to avoid the free healthcare and the marriage equality. But like
you'd follow all these stupid people fleeing to Canada and then just like point at them and make fun of them. Ha ha! It's just the same here.
You just like pull out a chair and some popcorn and just watch them freak out. Like yeah.
That would be great. Yeah. There are lots of places that I'd like to check out before I die. I would like to visit New Zealand and Australia. I'd like to visit the UK and Ireland and Scotland. I'd like to visit Machu Picchu. I'd like to visit Machu Picchu. I'd like to visit parts of South America that I've seen in Disney movies.
Right.
That's cool. But for living in a country for a long period of time, I am very privileged in the United States.
Yeah, exactly.
As a light-skinned Asian dude, most of the Asian oppression from various stereotypes and racist feelings against me are no longer an obstacle for me. That's not to say that they aren't there. They are still there. There are still like various racist structures in place against Asian people, but I don't have to suffer from most of them in 2015. So it's easy for me here. I could do as well in Canada. I think I could do as well in the UK. But Canada, I don't understand. Basically, I don't understand Canada.
Just don't get it.
To me, no. Like things, I think, oh well, blah blah blah. Canada is just like the U.S. And then like one of the people that I watch on YouTube, like Younging19, will just say something in passing. I'll be like, what? They do what there? Are you sure?
I have a friend, Dewey, there from Edmonton, and they have a little sister. She's like, well, I mean, she was at the time like 5 or 6, and she went to like first grade kindergarten. And they don't have snow days in Alberta because there is so much snow that they would never go to school. And so Dewey's like, yeah, I just dug my sister to school. And I was like, you did what? And she's like, yeah, I just hopped out and I dug a hole to open my door. And then I dug her all the way to school. And I was like,
oh my God, that is amazing.
Yeah. Wow. And she's like, well, like Dewey was like, if there's not like a school day, like if there's not a snow day, then what are we going to do? And they were just like, no, there's not a snow day. Just just let them, like, you know, if they're late, just give them a pass. I was just like,
wow. Yeah, and wow. I for some reason I know a lot of people on YouTube in Canada. I don't know why exactly, but like Miss Fender is in Canada, Mouse and Sneakers is in Canada, Young
Cat in the
19 is in
Garden.
Canada. Cat in the Garden in the chats. I saw that. Yeah, is in Canada. I mean, so it seems like a fine place. Like I said, I just don't understand. Like I understand the weird cultural things in the United States. They're weird, but I've grown up with them, so I understand them. It would be a little bit disconcerting to have things very similar, but a little bit different in Canada. It'd be like living in an alternate universe.
Right.
That's what I think it'd be like. I think it'd be okay. I think it'd be all right there. I think I would enjoy living in the UK, but all the class structures and traditional things in the UK
Oh yeah.
would A, confuse me, and B, probably piss me off constantly. Like,
Yeah.
screw you for thinking that somebody from the south of England is different from the north of England just because of where they're from. Screw you for thinking that somebody who's distantly related to royalty is somehow better than somebody who's not distantly related to royalty. Come on.
The royalty thing is like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like the South and the North, like, I mean, we have a little bit of that in America too. So like, it's extreme, but like, I'm like, okay, you're kind of an asshole, but whatever. But the royalty thing, oh, they're royals. What does that even mean? Like, we don't have that here, so it's so confusing to me.
Yeah. So I think that I think that I would enjoy a lot of the cultural things of the UK. I mean, I like British humor. I like British fiction. I like a lot of I like Harry Potter. I like the UK space in London. But yeah, I think that I'd be mad at the system. I'd be mad at the government and the class system. Yes, I'd be even more angry at them in the UK than I am in the United States. So like Canada by default.
Yeah.
I'd live in Canada because there's no other place that's better than that.
The Whole Foods scandal. I think that's not surprising. Like, I should be more mad about that than I am, but like, as my mom puts it, oh no, Whole Foods overcharging people? Like,
I was not aware of a Whole Foods scandal like that. If I heard in passing that Whole Foods overcharged, I think I would react like your mom and be like, is that something that people are talking about?
yeah, it was a
something
big
that
deal.
happened?
Yeah, people were like, can you believe Whole Foods is overcharging people for food? And like the New York FDA is all over it. And I'm like, yeah? Like, that's how capitalism works? Like, I don't know what you wanted me to say to that. Like,
yeah, I don't know how to react to that either. I mean, it'd be like being mad that Starbucks charges a lot for coffee.
yep.
Or that Chipotle charges. Actually, Chipotle's prices are pretty decent. Who else is expensive?
No, but like I don't know. Like I've been to, we have a Whole Foods in like the old money part of town, and like I've been there, and like you have to go there to buy like not anymore, but you used to have to go there to buy all the vegetarian stuff, and like, oh yeah, like I don't know why everyone's so amazed that they're overcharging for food.
Yeah, I mean when I want to buy vegetarian food that is not overpriced, I go to like Trader Joe's or Mom's Organic Markets or Yes Organic Market. Yeah. Or the local co-op. Basically, anybody that's not Whole Foods but has a similar stock is going to charge less than Whole Foods.
Yeah, Does
that even require an investigation? You literally go to 2 stores and you'll find out. But
yeah, I guess they were just like overcharging too much. I guess I don't know where you go.
Charging too much.
Like I don't know where like the line is there, because like technically food should be free, but like.
I definitely think that all staples should be free, like staple food products.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you have to pay for bread, pay for rice, pay for, I don't know, basic meat products, basic vegetable products, things that are not prepared. The fact that you have to pay for food that are not prepared and just harvested, seems weird to me. processed food, stuff that's already been put together for you. I mean, that makes sense. Somebody has to like figure out the recipe for whatever and put it together and then prepare it in such a way that it'll last until you get the chance to cook it. That all makes sense that that's expensive. Produce, I mean, the cost of produce should be proportional to how local it is. If it's from like down the street in your state, then it should be pretty inexpensive because the farmer should be getting subsidies from the local government for making things that is necessary for everyone to live.
Yeah.
Like that's, if you're making something that we all need in order to exist, you probably should get some money for that, and nobody else should have to pay for it so much because we have to exist.
Yeah.
But if it's far away, like this, I recently tried to research. I tried to research the sustainability of acai berries because I've been a big fan of like drinking acai drinks and having acai in my like desserts and stuff. And I thought a minute about it, and I thought, well, this is from South America, right? That is far away. South American farm structures historically will get taken advantage of as soon as they start exporting stuff. Like as soon as they start exporting anything, the farm structures will beat the crap out of local people, force them to do things that it's basically slavery, and then not take care of the local people at all and ship all the food away in order to make lots of money from Whole Foods.
For Whole Foods.
And then people who would normally be able to access those local food products in the South American countries, like Brazil, like acai berries, all of a sudden they can't access a thing that used to be local to them because they can't afford it because it's being shipped to the United States. So, pomegranates are like that. Quinoa is like that. And so I started looking into whether acai berries were like that, and sure enough, acai berries are no longer cheap enough for people who live next to where they came from to eat them. So I have cut acai berries out of my diet because, like, I suppose if like, I don't know, a grove in California were able to harvest acai berries, I would buy the harvested from California version. That's fine. California's got enough money. It's okay. But I don't want to do it from South America anymore because I think it's hurting them.
Right. Well, right now California can't grow shit, man. Like,
well, that's true.
We don't have any water. We can't do anything. But if somehow we get out of this drought,
if California would stop bottling water, you might actually have some water.
Dude, Nestle. Don't even talk about Nestle.
Nestle is horrible. Nestle is an evil corporation.
God.
Let's see. Cat in the Garden said that. I'm sorry, Kat. Do you use he, her pronouns he, him pronouns or she, her pronouns? Let me know in the chat. But Kat said that they would feel the same way about switching to America as I did about switching to Canada. Yeah, the culture thing would be weird. I
think Americans are very intense. Like I feel like every other country is nowhere near as intense as Americans. Like we're a very aggressive culture. Like I just
well, until football comes on. Then everybody beats us. But up until that point, yes, we are more intense.
Yeah. Football.
Nestle, Francie pointed out Harry Potter play. Did you hear about this?
I did not.
So J.K. Rowling announced that there's going to be a new Harry Potter and the
Cursed Child. I was confused with that wording. I was like, Harry Potter play? Is that like, what? No, the play Harry Potter. Gotcha.
Yes. So this is interesting because... Are you familiar with shoot? Oh my gosh, my friends are gonna be pissed off at me that I don't remember the name, but there's actually a series of plays put on by Star Kid.
Oh yeah, Harry Potter musical.
Thank you, Harry Potter. Yes.
Yes, I love those.
So there already exist plays about the Harry Potter universe, but they are explicitly not canonical.
Right.
Now there's going to be a new story that is. I mean, it's by J.K. Rowling, so it should be canonical. It should be like a part of the Harry Potter legitimate universe.
I think, personally, she should just let it go, let it be what it was, and just live off those royalties and coast. And, like, I get she's trying to stay relevant, but, like, I just... I don't know. Do you need to keep making Harry Potter stuff? Like...
If she were able to tell a story... between the second to last act of the final book of Harry Potter and the epilogue, if you were to tell stories in the middle of that before the epilogue so that we wouldn't hate the epilogue so much, that might be worth doing.
I think, yeah, it has to actually add to the story she's already established. When it's all this superfluous kind of, I mean, it's there, but it's outside stuff. I'm kind of just like, I don't really care.
I knew my friends were going to be upset with me. Francie is calling me out for forgetting about the name of a Harry Potter musical. I'm sorry, I haven't thought about it for a minute. Come on.
How dare you?
I should go put on my fake geek boy shirt.
You're a fake geek boy. Do you even know 5 of their songs?
No, I don't. I actually don't
even.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like on the one hand, there's that John Green quote about stories belonging to their readers, and that's fine and all, but I'm only like 50% on board with that because the stories come from somewhere.
Yeah.
The stories come from J.K. Rowling. They are hers. They can be interpreted by her readers. That's fine.
Yeah, but she wrote them.
Yeah, she wrote them. She can do whatever she wants with those characters. And if she does stuff that the rest of us think is crappy, well, then we're going to think that it's crappy, but she has every right to do that.
Yeah.
Hence, my feelings about the epilogue.
Yeah, I do feel that way too. Like, I can feel however I want about it, but that obviously J.K. Rowling does not care what I think about it.
Yeah,
she's crying. She's crying with all of those dollars she's counting.
Yeah, all the ingots.
Right.
But I don't know. I think that it's like it'd be one thing if it felt like the Harry Potter series had ended and everything was like resolved. Like there were no more questions about anything. And we saw all the characters developed as much as we wanted to see them developed to a reasonable amount. You know, it's not like I'm trying to think of a comparable other series that is like this, and I don't know if there is another one that's like this big. I
was gonna say Twilight, but that ended horribly, so I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
I mean, prior to the Harry Potter series, I think maybe like the Narnia series was like a big one. Obviously, the Lord of the Rings series was a big one. And it's not like people are saying that C.S. Lewis deprived his readers by not making more stories after the original 7 Chronicles of Narnia. It's not like people are saying that, you know, Tolkien ruined things by not making more stories after The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings first and then The Hobbit. It's not like he ruined things by not making more stuff than a single prequel and his original saga. But for some reason, the fact that J.K. Rowling's creation exists in this time period. In this time period, this is the era of the sequel. This is the era of the reboot. So
the reboot.
Yeah. I do. Scozio says, hi, Scozio, by the way. Do you remember Hank Green's song, Oh, J.K. Rowling? I kind of remember that, but I mostly remember his song Book 8 about how there should be an 8th book. Yeah, and I think that his songs kind of really represent the feelings of nerd culture right now. Is that we just keep wanting more, and it's weird. It's weird that when we don't get more. Usually, when nerd culture in this era demands more, businesses hear that and say, "Oh, so like you'll pay us? Okay, here's more." Sometimes even if we don't say that we'll pay you, they'll still give us Jurassic World. So, okay. So I think that like J.K. Rowling's in a position where she kind of has to, well, she doesn't have to, but she's hearing that this world full of millions, maybe billions of fans want more, and so if she opts to do more stories about that, that's legit. That's fine. I hope that she kind of honors people's. I hope that she honors people's memories of and feelings towards these characters. Like if Luna Lovegood in this play does something that's very not Luna, I will personally be very upset because I like Luna exactly the way she is.
I find it interesting though, because like she is choosing to make more, but not in the way that the fans are asking for. Like she's like, yeah, I'll make more, but we're not getting like Marauders or like like third generation or whatever, we're getting very kind of offshooty, strange things, and I don't know if that's her way of like going like, ha, like gotcha, I'm making more, but I'm doing what I want, or if she's just, I don't know.
Well, you know, if that were her method, her reasoning for that, then it would make her kind of akin to George R.R. Martin. Like, he's gonna make more shit, but he's not gonna care in the slightest what the readers ask for.
That's so true.
Let's see here. Francie says J.K. must make Harry Potter things until she can manage to be in at least one of those things.
Fair.
Kat says she, her. Hi. Thank you, Kat, for clarifying that. I appreciate that. What else is happening in the chat here?
The problem with the whole Harry Potter thing is it takes space away from other authors and stories. Yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, I'm not a writer.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true. How does it take space? There's not like a finite space for authors and stories.
I think what Scozy is trying to say, though, and like as a musician, I see it too, is when you have someone who's already established who keeps just making more, it does seem to kind of shadow or dwarf. It's harder for newer people to come in if they've already got the cash cow there.
Well, like the example I can give back to you is U2 versus Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
U2 hasn't gone away. We kind of want them to, but they haven't gone away. And their existence, their refusal to die, hasn't stopped Taylor Swift from coming up brand new into that same pop music space and being a new queen.
Yeah, yes and no. I think it just makes what are the words I'm looking for? Even with Taylor Swift, it makes it very difficult for new artists to come in and do what they want. Maybe it solidifies to the big corporations that this is the formula that works, and so we keep doing that instead of maybe innovating or whatever. Like, you have to compare. About that. You have to compare like FK Twigs to, I hope I'm saying that right, to like Taylor Swift as well.
I'm not sure who that is.
She's like an artist and a kind of, I think neo soul is the best way to describe her. But she's very unique, and like she's dating Robert Pattinson too, which is an aside, but just an interesting fact. And like she's a very interesting artist, and there's lots of like, even Janelle Monáe, who's popular, but the label effectively gives less money to artists who are doing less than artists like Taylor Swift who are selling crazy amounts, or a lot. I probably shouldn't say crazy, but a lot. And so, I mean, corporations are evil. What else is new? Sky is blue.
Fair. But I mean, it's, I don't know. I have only lived in this time span, and in this time span, I have never seen a time period where all of a sudden new artists who are doing new things stop appearing.
Yeah. Like
for decades now, I've been listening to music on the radio, downloading music. I started downloading music when it first became a thing through iTunes Store, even on Napster. And it's not as if a year comes along and I think, this year there was nobody new. No, that doesn't happen. There's keeps on lots of new people. I'm not sure. I don't think that this market is finite. And the thing is, technology makes market less finite, more infinite. I'm not sure what the right phrasing there is, but the technology means that we are able to do more in the same amount of time and space. So before Spotify, there was no way I was going to be exposed to as many artists as I am now because of Spotify and RDO and iTunes Radio and Google Play Radio, and I keep on finding new radio streaming station, XM even, and Sirius even, for the non-computery people. I keep on being exposed to more and more artists because technology makes that a viable possibility for me. Now, are the artists being compensated for that? No. The artists are being like screwed over worse and worse because technology is improving faster than financial negotiation strategies can keep up with them. Right.
Okay, so I see two subjects going on. Let's talk about Taylor Swift and her fake feminism first, because that kind of glitches onto what we're talking about, and then we can talk about Hannibal. How about that?
Well, you can talk about Hannibal, because I don't know anything about it.
Oh, neither do I. I just I was trying to like I don't know, like streamline a conversation so they made more sense. See, I'm not necessarily on the Taylor Swift stan board, so maybe I'm going to be a little more critical. I don't like the term fake feminism. I don't like the idea of fake feminists, but I do think she could probably try a little harder to be a little more informed. Like Lena Dunham in the Bad Blood video was not my favorite thing to see.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I think they were like little teasers beforehand with like the posters and stuff, and everybody was getting really excited. And then the teaser about Lena Dunham came out, and everybody was like, "What?"
Yeah, I just because like my friend made a good point. My friend Ali, she made like, you know, about the whole like Apple Music thing. Like she was mad because she wasn't gonna make money off it, and like I just feel like they're
That's
a
not
little.
what Taylor Swift said.
Well, like it's not what she said, but when you're suing, hear me out.
Okay.
When you're suing your fans for, or you're trying to take your fans to court for selling products on Etsy, when you don't want to pay photographers, when you're doing all these things kind of underhandedly, and then you go, well, this is for the little guys, and I think it's unfair that these little guys are going to get paid or not going to get paid for their music. I just can't believe that, because you do it to other people, but then you try and use those little people as your, I don't know, your standpoint. I just,
I read a rebuttal to the Taylor Swift photographers thing. I probably found an article linked on Tumblr or something, but I read a rebuttal that was basically that, yeah, it is crappy to take advantage of the artists who are photographers by redistributing their works without paying them for it, which is what Taylor's accused of doing. That is shitty. But Taylor is not just Taylor. Taylor is like, she's like a corporation.
no, I agree.
You know? And she doesn't personally interact with everything that happens with regards to her business. She does write her own songs. She does personally interact with other musicians. She does, I'm sure she checks on the kind of money that she gets for the way her music is used. Like, those are things that are like core to who she is, whether she's making billions of dollars a year or back when she was making $12,000 a year. She'd always be concerned about like what's happening with her music and like creating her music and interacting with other musicians. I don't think it's changed in quality, but it hasn't changed in importance to her. But
Right.
when you get to things like her merch, like the way she interacts with her merch from when she was a starting country music up and coming star to the way she is now is very different. I would be surprised if she looks at every single item of merch that gets her officially approved of name on it, because that would be all of her time in her life. She'd have to look at all that merch. There's no way she can look at all that. She has to have like managers that she trusts to deal with that. And I think that maybe the photography situation might be the same thing. Like, I don't know how she's going to react to that. Maybe she's going to say, well, suck it, I hate photographers, screw you. Or maybe she's going to investigate and say, wait a minute, my manager just did what with the photographs? They stopped paying for that? That's not okay. I don't know what she's going to do.
I hope she does the latter, because if she does the former, then that just kind of confirms that it's, I don't know. You know, if I were Taylor Swift's size, I wouldn't be able to know that. I agree with you there. But if I heard that and my first reaction was to just go, oh, whatever, instead of, hey, wait, what?
Yeah.
It does definitely.
That would, but even if she did like throw the photographers under the bus, as it were, what would that mean of her? That would mean that she is a typically hypocritical person.
Yeah, no,
like human beings do that. That's part of what makes us, pretty much all of us, problematic, is that we tend to be hypocritical about one or two things where we just don't see the significance of it because we can't empathize with 100% of everybody around us.
Yeah.
It's not right. It would be great if she did do the latter and she did actually say, wait a minute, I'm going to change the way my managers handle photographers because of this. That would be great, and I hope that she does. But if she doesn't, does that all of a sudden make her the devil? No. It just means that she is an entertainer who cares about other stuff. Who cares about stuff and not photographers. That sucks.
I think that's a little bit, I mean, in terms of hypocrisy, I agree with you there. Like, we're all hypocritical. That's hard for me to, in terms of, because it's all art to me. Like, that's all art. And like, maybe other stuff she could look at, I don't know, whaling in Japan and be like, I don't care about that. Like that would make a little more sense. But just to me, like that's her argument is that people should get paid for their art. And when you're not paying people for their art, that's very directly like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I do both. Maybe it's because I do video and I see how much work and that goes into that. But also I do music, so I can link those two, and it's just hard for me to separate them.
Yeah, I mean, you're certainly very close to both situations.
Yeah.
I agree with you that I don't like the term fake feminist. It implies that there is somehow only one way of being feminist or a best way of being feminist. I do think that there is a best way of being feminist, which is intersectional feminism. But
there's a better way. There's always a better way.
That's the best way. But I mean, the way that I qualified it as being best is that it tries to help everybody, not just one group of people who are hurt by sexism, but it helps everybody who's hurt by the in-place hierarchy. So intersectional feminism is my preference. But if you are pushing forward any of the ideals of feminism and you are not intersectional because you're clueless, not because you're malicious, but because you're clueless to that, then, well, I think that you could do more. I'm not going to stop you or try to like throw something in your path because you are not as feminist as I want you to be. I'm going to say, hey, I will tweet at Taylor Swift 13 and say, hey, intersectional feminism, maybe? And maybe she will learn about that and become more knowledgeable about like trans women's issues and about, I don't know, lots of stuff. So yeah, I don't think that Taylor Swift is fake feminist. Just like the same way that Emma Watson is a very white feminist, but I don't think that she's like maliciously so. She just has more to learn, and they are both using their positions of recognition and power to try to do good within what little they know. And that is, I mean, that's, how can you not want that from people? You want people to do as good as they can do in their aisle and then try to expand their aisle.
Yeah, although I will give Francie that one. Her feminism is very rich white feminism. I'll give you that one. Internet high five.
Well, any celebrity that you and I and Francie would know of has rich in their
in their feminism, yeah.
I mean, it's not like we see news stories about somebody who's like, I don't know, a college dropout who's just writing a blog and their feminism. We don't see stories about that in the news, even though that's like half of my friends. So
yeah,
we're important too, but you're not going to find out about us, and we're not going to be able to argue with Apple Computer.
Yeah, I think I'd have to imagine Apple was planning something similar to that, though. That was really too quick, in my opinion, for them to switch over like that. That was very quick. Like usually stuff like that happens over probably weeks because it has to go through all of Apple's people. That was instant. Well,
I mean, to be fair, the person who responded to Taylor Swift was Eddie Q, who's in charge of that entire section of Apple. That is him.
Yeah.
So he is the boss. The buck stops with him. He can say whatever the hell he wants.
But even still, like corporate, you'd have to imagine, even though he's the boss and all that, like you'd have to imagine there's some kind of process.
Well, probably. My belief with regards to Taylor versus Apple Music is that Apple tried to get away with something quietly. They wanted to see if they could do that, if they could not pay artists for 3 months. But they had always planned. They always like set aside their budgeting. Yes, they always set aside like a budgeting logistical plan, backup plan B, for if there was any pushback on it. Because if they could get away with it because they're huge and everybody loves Apple, then they would make more money. But if they can't get away with it, they will still make lots of money.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's a profit margin of like billions of dollars versus slightly fewer billions of dollars.
True.
Yeah. Let's see here. What have I been missing in the chat?
Nothing much.
They talked about people in the chat have talked about Lena and what the problems with Lena. I mean, there's a lot of problems with Lena Dunham. She's another rich white feminist. I've had problems with Lena Dunham ever since the onset of Girls, when it was so damn white How was that even set in New York City if it's that white? That doesn't make any sense at all. But
yeah, she's low key racist. I mean, probably more high key, but I'll say low key to be chill.
yes, she is the sort of she exhibits. Let's say that she exhibits the sort of racism where a person might think that they can make up for it by saying, "But I have this black friend, and his name is Donald Glover, and we're gonna have sex." So that is my countering to people's accusations of racism is that I have this black friend that I have sex with. So we're all cool now, right? We're all cool.
Yeah.
Not so cool, Lena. Not so cool.
Yeah, I just yeah, and like the whole thing with like Grace Dunham and all that, it upsets me that people.
She's a child molester. Lena Dunham's a
yeah,
child molester.
It upsets me that more people don't care about that because it's like, no, you guys, like this is not just like her sister saying it. And there's no proof. She wrote it in her book. Like I did this, and she literally compared herself to a pedophile in her own book. So it's like,
Yeah. Yes. I don't know. The entertainment industry doesn't care about children and women.
I mean, the entertainment industry, of course, I didn't expect them to care. I guess I was just hoping more people outside of my small social justice circle cared, and they didn't. And I was like,
Well, but the reason why the audience at large, the civilians who are not social justicers, the reason why they care about anything is because someone tells them to. That's how people learn to care about something, is that someone tells them to. Whether it is, Miss Frizzle on the Magic School Bus or John Oliver on Last Week Tonight. If somebody doesn't tell them to care about it, then most people in this world only care about their own personal shit.
Yeah.
What that does mean is that every person who was molested by a family member was immediately pissed off at Lena Dunham and probably never stopped being pissed off at Lena Dunham. But everybody who didn't experience that specific scenario said, that sounds bad, or I don't understand what's going on, and then they just moved on with their lives because everybody in the world didn't keep on telling them to care about it.
That had to have been it. Yeah, because I read that and I was just like, ooh, and then everyone's like, well, and I was like, no, there's no well to that. Like, ew.
I mean, the lack of empathy of consumers of art is astonishing, considering that they are consuming art. But it is. I mean, they have almost no empathy. If that were not the case, people would put human lives as more valuable as molestation and predation of human lives. But consistently, historically, since the beginning of Hollywood, it has never been the case. Everybody always puts the art product, whatever that is, at a higher value than the people who are destroyed in the process of making that art product, or by the people who've made that art product. Woody Allen shouldn't have a career.
Oh, God.
Mike Tyson shouldn't have a career. Chris Brown shouldn't have a career. These people have careers because people don't give a crap about other human beings. They want to see the movie, listen to the music, watch the acting, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And that's bullshit. It sucks.
Yeah, it really does suck.
And I think part of the problem is that people believe that there is a finite amount of talent and that there is a limited pie to apportion out. So people think like, well, if we stop taking these movies from Woody Allen, we'll stop getting good movies like the movies that Woody Allen makes. And I would submit, perhaps there are people who are being molested by people like Woody Allen, who, if they were not being molested by people like Woody Allen, might make good movies.
Yeah, true. I think too, people really believe you can separate the artist from their art. Like they really truly believe you can, like, yeah, like Chris Brown's a terrible person, but like his music isn't terrible, so like I can, I don't know. I don't really know the mentality, but I do know that people really believe you can separate them. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. And it's, I don't think that people who separate out the artist from artist are bad people. I don't think that at all.
No,
I think that they are. We are all raised in a society that is problematic in this fashion. We're all raised in a society where we like the thing despite the horrible stuff in that thing making process.
Yeah.
My friend, oh come on, Corolla T. My friend Corolla T on Twitter asked me at one point if a shirt that I like was manufactured in a sweatshop-free environment, and my first inclination was to avoid the question because I like the T-shirt so much. That's my honest reaction was I don't want to know because I like this T-shirt so much. But I forced myself to go down that rabbit hole, and I'm not 100% convinced that all the T-shirt manufacturers that I buy from are the most up and up. But I did check to see if they are at least stating like in a formal statement that they do not use sweatshops. I checked to see it, and there are a couple that do not say that, and I'm not going to order from them anymore. But thankfully, most of the T-shirt companies that I buy from do have an official statement saying we do not buy from sweatshops. We buy from these companies that you can check out. So thank goodness I can continue to buy my shirts and not feel like a horrible person. But like that was a qualm. And why? And why? Why would I hesitate? Why would I think that any shirt, no matter how bomb it is more important than the lives of hundreds, maybe thousands of people in a sweatshop factory? I shouldn't think that. I should immediately think. Reflexively, you would think. I should immediately think human beings are more important than shirts.
I think too, it's because like we put our money into it, and so we go, well, I'm buying it, so it's I earned it. It's like
yeah.
It's not right, but it's the way we think, and it's the way that obviously our society has made us think.
But again. It's something that I struggle with, and I try to fall on the side of making I try to fall on the side of making the less problematic choice.
Right, same.
But because I know that struggle, I don't fault people for not making that choice. I do want them to at least recognize and admit that it's problematic. Like that's basically what I want. I want people to say, yes, I realize this is a problematic fave that I have, and it sucks, but I still have it. That is the least that you can ask for.
That's the least, yeah. I do that I was saying, like, I do that with beauty all the time. Like, I try my best to buy as vegan, and it's like it's whole, but sometimes it's hard, and it's really hard, and you're just like, well, I recognize that my fave is problematic.
Yes. And there are things that we can do that are not directly connected to those things in order to make the world a better place. So like, we can we can vote for the congressional representative, the senator, or the House member who wants to subsidize environmentally friendly things, cruelty-free things. And we can vote against the person who doesn't care about that stuff and just wants to increase profits from companies. We can look at that. We can look at that, and we can vote for that. So if I buy a problematic shirt that costs me $12, and if I didn't buy that shirt, that's just like a $12 difference. I feel like that's not as big of a deal as voting for someone who changes import-export taxes so that that's not as likely to happen.
Yeah.
Like, it's like making a change in the system versus making an individual change. Sometimes the change in the system is better.
It usually is.
It's hard to do, but like we mentioned earlier, Kat Black, and she's awesome. But she's also tweeted a couple times about how like Iggy Azalea is one of her problematic faves. Like she knows that Iggy Azalea is no, but
that's how you describe her.
But some of her music makes you want to dance around a little bit. And so Kat Black likes some of that music. And she recognizes that it's problematic, and she'll admit it. She admits culpability to it. So, cool. If Kat Black has a couple of thousand followers and they see her say that Iggy Azalea is problematic, then by saying that to all of those followers, she might have convinced some of them not to listen to Iggy Azalea's music. So her own listening to Iggy Azalea's music might be okay. It's one of those, it's almost like a parental thing, like do what I say, not what I do.
Right, right. Let's see. I wanted to ask this to Francie just because, like, I've been thinking about this ever since we talked about her being from Germany, and this is a total, like, horrible question to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyways. What do you think about Tokyo Hotel?
What is Tokyo Hotel?
They're a German boy band, and I will call them a boy band even though they all play instruments, and they were like Germany's Justin Bieber. Like, oh my god, Google them sometime. I used to be the biggest Tokyo Hotel fan, and they were like this teen pop band. They kind of played towards like a rock, like kind of like rock music, but they were just ubiquitous and irritating. And they had a huge following in Europe, and I want to know what Francie thinks of them, if she thinks anything of them. Because, like, I feel like German people, it's very divisive. I don't know. Maybe I'm just imagining things, but, like they allegedly in France got more students to enroll in German language classes than English. Like, see, she hates them. And yeah, they were kind of a big deal. I've never really been like from Germany, so I just wanted to ask.
It's funny. Wow. In the chat, Kat says there were brands that she didn't want to look up because she loved their products and didn't want to find out if they were going to be problematic.
Because you kind of know the answer. You kind of know the answer. You always know if you have to look them up, they probably are problematic.
Francie can still sing most of Tokyo Hotel songs just because they were played everywhere all the time.
Justin Monsoon. Oh my god, I probably said the worst accent ever, but yeah.
Funny.
And your ex-crush from France loved them. They're very like Tokyo Hotel is very divisive.
Interesting. Too funny. It is a shame that you are not you're not planning on going to VidCon, right?
I am not. No, I don't feel like I'm very not welcome. That's not the right term, but like I don't feel like there'd be much of a place for me there. See,
that's interesting because, like, if you ask anybody who's part of VidCon, not like a guest, but like somebody who's part of like the staff, VidCon staff, of who should go, and if you look at their promotional materials, they always say that everybody is welcome at VidCon. Everybody can come to VidCon and enjoy it and have a good time. But it's gotten so big and like such a thing that I understand why you feel that way. I mean, I felt that way last year, and I was already like vlogging a lot last year before I went to VidCon, but I felt like I was going to be lost and weird, stand out in the crowd. Nobody would notice me. Nobody would want to talk to me, etc. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
I don't even know if it's like, because like I generally am not one of the people like, I'm not going to fit in. Like I generally am I just feel like there's just not, I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked at the panels, but there just wouldn't be a lot for me to do there. Like, I don't know. Like I'd go and I'd be like, that's neat. You're John Green. And like, that would kind of be the whole thing. Like,
well, there's an open space area where I don't think you need to have any sort of ID to be there, and like the festival stage area. I don't think I remember seeing anybody getting kicked out because it's an outdoor space and there's a stage and people perform there. So you could probably hang out in that area. You just couldn't go into the convention center. You basically just couldn't go into the convention center.
Right.
But I thought that it is a shame that Static Cadets didn't get on that open mic for VidCon. I thought that'd be cool.
Give me a second. My phone is ringing. I'll BRB real quick.
Okay. Let's see here. In the chat, Cat in the Garden says, even in Canada, there's songs played here sometimes. Spoo is here. Hi, Spoo. The worst doesn't even begin to describe it. French people are weird. That's great. Let me backtrack and see if there's stuff that I've missed. Kat was talking about cruelty-free products. Let's see here. Francie asked of Kiku Marie, how can I see you when I'm in LA?
You can drive 3 hours north and come to Fresno and be sad. That's why I ran off, because like I said, my work has been crazy, and so I thought they were gonna go and call me in and like, hey, can you work another 8 hours? That's why I ran. But yeah, not a lot of traveling for me, because I'm one of the only people who got new hired that can really cashier right now, I think. So.
Francie asks, can my parents watch my performance? Francie's going to be on the live on the open mic festival stage.
Yay!
I think so, Francie. Like, I think that maybe there are bouncers that are around the audience. Like, okay, so the way I remember the festival stage, and they might configure it differently this year, but the way I remember the festival stage is there's a big outdoor stage. It's like a big rectangular blocky stage, typical, and then directly in front of the stage, and like this median area between the stage and the convention center proper, is a big expanse, probably like, I don't know, 10 meters maybe back, where the audience can fill in between metal railings. So in that space, I think you might need to wear a VidCon badge in order to be allowed there. I feel like there were bouncers in that area. But if you're not in that space, if you're back farther, like near the fountain in front of the convention center, or maybe if you're off to the side, like there's a walking path near the festival stage that is not a part of the audience space. Maybe if you're there, you can just be there and not have to have a badge. So maybe it's my answer. Maybe.
I
think. Well, Francie is going to be one of the squad. I'm so happy that I'm part of the squad. It's going to be at VidCon. And we're all going to, and many of us are going to be arriving on the evening of the 22nd, which is was it the Thursday or the Wednesday? I don't know. But it's before VidCon proper. And I think that Melly the Nerd and a bunch of the rest of us are going to meet up and just hang out and say hi and chill and stuff on that first evening. But the meetup space that Mel has designated is that fountain space in front of the convention center. So we'll actually be able to see how they are setting up the festival stage. I think there even are a couple of shows happening the night before VidCon proper, just one or two. So we can see how it's configured, and you'll be able to figure out whether or not your parents can watch you for your performance.
Cool. That would be cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would also like to see you when I'm in LA, Kiku Marie. Come on. Oh, technically I'm in Anaheim, but when I'm there, you should just come. You and Katie Grunhagen should just come and hang out, even though you're not.
There's no way we're getting Katie down there.
Oh, damn it.
There's no way we're getting Katie down there. I'm a very strong maybe, but yeah, no, because if it's not, her parents are pretty strict, and she's still a Babs, so.
Aww.
Yeah.
Maybe
she'll surprise you. Maybe she'll show up.
That would be cool. Tell her that I'm asking about her. We need to see this. I want to see all the Static Cadets, not just the Wolf Sisters.
Yeah. I'm probably going to be working so many hours, though.
Aw. I mean, I can't really argue against that. Yes, Francie, there is a concert that evening. I can't remember who's on the concert that evening, that first evening. A couple people. I was thinking that I might go to that concert, but I'd rather hang out with friends. Mm-hmm.
There. All right, this came up because we were talking about Harry Potter, and I just wanted to. What is your house? I want to know your house.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm.
And everybody.
I took the Pottermore quiz, the Pottermore like sorting hat thing, and I got sorted into Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw, Slytherin over here. Pottermore official Slytherin. All right, chat people. It's up to you.
Francie is also a Slytherin, I believe.
Slytherins for the win.
It's funny, win. I don't think I know too many Gryffindors. I know a bunch of Hufflepuff.
I know one.
Yeah?
Yeah, I know so many Hufflepuffs, and I know my friend Emily Critchfield. She's a Gryffindor, Pottermore official Gryffindor, but I don't.
I know
And my
her on
friend
Twitter.
Dewey. Yeah, and my friend Dewey is a Gryffindor, but and my friend Danny. So I know 3 Gryffindors, so many Hufflepuffs, couple Slytherins, and you're the only.
Oh yeah, fancy.
I feel
Cool.
like Hufflepuff and Slytherin are very common houses, though. Like I feel like, because like either you're like a Hufflepuff and you're like very like I don't know like hardworking and loyal and good stuff, or you're a Slytherin and you're very like because most people are either one or the other. Like they're either going to be very underhanded and like for themselves, or very generous and open.
Wait.
Like
Are you just admitting in this live chat that you are underhanded, Kiku Marie?
I mean, for the betterment of my circle of people, I'm the asshole in my friend group. I'm the person in my friend group who will look at other people and go, that's not gonna happen. No, sorry. Like I don't have issues with that because me and Katie are both Slytherins and we're both very similar in that aspect of like, nah. But then we're all friends with pretty much all Hufflepuffs. So
Interesting. My friend Shuna in Baltimore and Connor Manning, actually, they're both Hufflepuffs, I believe.
yeah, I know. I think both wolves are Hufflepuffs. So,
Interesting.
yeah,
I think that it's I think that it maybe like reveals an aspect of internet culture personalities. Like the fact that we are on the internet means that as much as we are means that we are not so much extroverts, I think.
probably.
You know, like I think Slytherins are also not particularly extroverted. If they exhibit extrovert tendencies, it is to take over the world. That is
That's so
the only
true.
time. Oh, Cat in the Garden is Gryffindor. Okay, cool. You gotta.
We have a. Oh no, we don't. No, we don't because we don't. Is there a Hufflepuff in here? Because then we
Yeah, is
have
there a
the whole.
Hufflepuff in the chat? Speak up. We'll have all 4 houses.
It'll be like a real Hogwarts gathering.
Yeah. Yeah. See, most of Cat's friends are Hufflepuffs as well.
I think that's true though. In terms of like Hufflepuff, like took all the rest. I think a lot of people are Hufflepuff. I feel like Hufflepuff is probably the most populated house. Like
I think so.
that's a very most people want to be like good, inclusive people, and you have like the Gryffindors who are like do it for the vine. Like they're very like that's my friend Emily. Like
You're quoting a song right now.
I am like. Well, because like my friend Emily, like she's the one, like she's like, yeah, I went and hung out in a graveyard, and I was like, that's the kind of stuff white people do in horror movies, and I'm not about it. Like, no, like I'm not gonna go hang out in a graveyard. That's no. And then like, I don't like other than you, I don't know any Ravenclaws. And then Slytherins, yeah, like Slytherins are definitely, I will say like selfish, but not so much that people like it would imagine, like not completely self-absorbed. I don't know the I'm a Hufflepuff video.
Neither do I. Apparently, we have to go look for that after this.
Yeah. I was also talking too, like how we talk about Harry Potter, like at least in my friend group, like it's real life. Like there was a boy I saw on campus and he had a Hufflepuff keychain, and I was like I didn't say it to him, but I was like looking at him like, he's a Hufflepuff? What? And then I stopped and I was just like, that's not real. Like, I was very like.
I'm glad you realized that.
Well, because I was very like, how is he like? I would never imagine being a Hufflepuff. Like, it was like a very like I made like a very distinct like character decision about him, and I was like, he's a Hufflepuff, and then I was like, that's not real. It doesn't matter. Like.
The funny thing is, I mean, these are just made up houses that J.K. Rowling came up with, and I'm sure that she had a hand in the Pottermore testing.
Like, she had to have, yeah.
Like my supposition, I don't know this for a fact, but my supposition is that she contributed answers to questions that would have been asked of people in the books. So like she gave answers that Harry might have said, that Luna might have said, that Seamus might have said, etc. And her answers better have matched up with the results that the Pottermore quiz gave. Otherwise, she would say this quiz is messed up. It's not right. So once she's done that, what she's essentially done is she's created an artificial personality test that like arbitrarily assigns people into these different categorizations. It's very similar to the Myers-Briggs thing, except instead of having 16 options, you only have 4.
Right. It is true. Yeah.
But what that means is that you're limiting the width and breadth of personality types, of which there are many, to 4 options. So they're not going to be very precise.
Right. I was gonna say something. What was I gonna say? Oh,
Spoo had to watch his own video to double check, but he's a Slytherin.
Slytherin. That's true. Like Franzi's like, I got into a fight with a guy who didn't believe I was a Slytherin, but not a Gryffindor. But I feel like Slytherins and Gryffindors are two sides of a coin. Like,
yes. Well, I mean, that's not just you. That's canonical.
Yeah.
That's the Sorting Hat saying you could be a good Slytherin to Harry, but because he wants to be a Gryffindor, he becomes a Gryffindor. That's right in the books.
That was what I was gonna say, because like I was taking the Pottermore test and I tried to cheat to get Ravenclaw, and I got Slytherin, and I was like, that's probably right. Like, I was mad at first because I was like, I cheated. I was like cheating to get Ravenclaw, then I stopped, and I was like, yeah.
I was tempted to try to answer like more nobly in order to get Gryffindor, but I was just like, I was just honest about it. I just said, I can see which answers might be answered by a Gryffindor, but I'm gonna just say what I honestly think, and making careful choices is more important to me than being noble.
Which is such a Ravenclaw thing to say. Making a careful choice is more important than being noble. Like, and like for me too, like I think for me, like my friend Emily, and like I think we're perfect like Slytherin Gryffindor opposites, because she will do stuff that like I go, that's dumb, why would you do that? And she goes, well, it's like the right thing to do, And I'm like, well, it is. But like we were in videography like together, and like she would take on hours and hours of video work, and I'm like, just tell him no. And she's like, well, he really needs someone to do it. And I'm like, okay, so there's 32 other kids in this class. Like, he can find somebody else.
Wait a minute. But being a pushover isn't Gryffindor. Being a pushover is Hufflepuff.
I guess, true. I think it was just more like, because she did it because she felt like it was like the right thing to do or whatever. Or like, and I was just like, but you have to think about yourself as well. Like, that was my rationale. I was like, you're going to stay up so late and like, you're going to do all this work for what? And she's like, well, it's just the right thing to do. And I'm like, all right. I respect that, but that's so many hours. She spent so many hours.
Yeah, I feel like a characteristic of a Gryffindor is making the brave choice, but not necessarily the hard choice.
That's true too. They do stuff for recognition, but in a different way than Slytherins, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I keep on seeing all these tweets from Haley Atwell, and she is just the best.
She's so cute.
She's adorable. I think she's having a blast at probably San Diego Comic-Con. Is that where she is right now?
I think so. And if I were her, I'd be having a blast there too. I'm freaking Agent Carter. I would have so much fun at Comic-Con.
I'm sorry. Did you just say that you're Asian Carter?
No, but that's the most beautiful pun I've ever heard. An Asian Carter. I love Asian puns.
Me too. When one of my friends early on the internet was had a screen name of Secret Asian Man, a pun off of the name of that song.
Mm-hmm. My dad, he worked with a detective who called himself the Secret Asian Man, and then like the police headquarters came and they're like, you can't call yourself that. Like, that's an HR problem. And he's like, what? Like, oh yeah.
So what have you been experiencing pop culture wise the past couple of weeks?
Pop culture. Oh, see, I'm terrible because all I do is just watch skinny white dudes do stuff. I'm terrible. Like if I can choose to consume pop culture, it's always gonna be some dude who looks like Nicholas Hoult. A lot of Mad Max. Speaking of Nicholas Hoult, I've been doing a lot of that. I'm a very big fan of the new Mad Max. As one Tumblr put it, like everyone's off chasing dinosaurs in the jungle and I'm still out in the desert.
Nice.
I've been trying to watch Skins. I've been starting that. That's a pretty okay series. I wouldn't recommend it to everybody, but
are you watching the original UK series or the US version?
The UK version, and it's one of those like things
because of Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But it's one of those things that I can watch and I can recognize is like, this is terrible and problematic, but I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna enjoy it and watch it anyways. Like I'm such a sucker for characters like Tony Stoneham though, like really terrible, horrible, like jerk with a heart of gold, like mysterious, broody. And I know it's terrible.
Didn't you just tweet about how you liked some guy and your father said that character?
Yeah, no, it's a singer in a band, Matty Healy, the 1975, and like he was completely blitzed, and he was like smoking a bong as well, and I was just like, oh, like yeah, it's Matty Healy from 1975. I like that guy, and my dad's just like, you terrible tasted man, and then he just.
Well, you're still in your teens, right? Hello? Did I just lose you with that question?
Again, because no, you went robot on me again.
Oh, okay. I asked if you are in your teens still.
I am in my teens. I'm 18. I guess yeah. I'm legally an adult.
No, but what I was going to say was,
title.
When you were in your teens, make all the bad choices you can as long as they're not going to hurt your health. That's the time for it. In your 20s, you can start cutting some of that shit out. In your 30s, you realize that you didn't cut out any of that shit, and you can do it for real. That's how life goes. It's okay.
Like I think for me, it's very just like a fantasy. Like I totally would recognize that in real life, if I dated a Matty Healy type, I would just be like, "Stop, you're stupid." But I can like look at that and go, "That's nice to think about." Like.
Francie says skinny white dudes are beautiful. God damn it.
I have such low standards. Because all my friends are like, that's terrible. Like, he's just an average white boy who's tall. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. The bar's low. I admit that.
I mean, you've described the thought process behind, I'm going to say, at least 25% up to 50% of Dan and Phil's audience. So it's okay. It's all right. You're not alone.
So true, though. Oh, Dan and Phil, though. Oh, I watched an interview they did with Fall Out Boy. That was terrible. That was so bad.
What? You know what now?
They did an interview with Fall Out Boy because they're like on BBC Radio 1 now. Speaking of pretty white boys, yeah. And like they're presenters because the overlap of like Bring Me the Horizon fans and like Fall Out Boy fans, they overlap with that Dan and Phil crowd. And Dan and Phil are great if they can film a video and edit it together to make them seem less horribly awkward than they really are. Like when they have to do like a live feed, it's really bad.
Yeah, I believe it. On the other hand, you know, talking about different white UK boys, British boys, Jack and Dean are not bad. They're not bad when they're live. They're okay. They're still pretty funny and clever.
Yeah, like I'm not familiar with Jack and Dean, but I am very familiar with Dan and Phil. And yeah. I'm not going to watch the new Spider-Man, though, because it's just a skinny white boy. And that's true. And he's not even, like, the brooding, angsty type that I like. He's just skinny and white. There's got to be a third element there. I have a little bit higher standards.
Well, and he's also not a man. I'm sorry, but he's going to be, like, he looks like he's 12. I don't know how old he actually is, but he looks like such a baby.
He does. I was really disappointed that they decided to reboot again. I was like, yeah. Did we need to?
No. I mean, not with Peter Parker. We've had the Peter Parker story too many times.
It's like when I love Gotham now, but when I saw like the trailers for it, I was like, the Batman origin story? Like everyone doesn't know the Batman origin story.
Are you still into Gotham?
I am. I do really enjoy the show.
As you may recall, I was watching it at the beginning, but I bailed around like episode 8 or 9 or something like that.
Yeah. I'll give you it was...
What's that?
I said I'll give you it's pretty... I don't know why I enjoy it, because usually shows stress me out and I don't like to watch them, but I don't know.
Well, for me, like the appeal of the Batman universe is that there is a costumed vigilante fighting against the people with various, basically various mental illnesses is what he's doing. And so because he's a costume vigilante who is slightly less afflicted with mental illness than the villains who he's fighting, he doesn't kill them. He just tries to capture them and then give them to the cops so that they can get potentially help, which is great. That's what you want. That's what you want someone to do for a bad guy who is bad because of a mental illness.
Right.
But Gotham just had like evil people who were evil. They weren't like mentally ill at all. Fish has no mental illnesses. She's just bad. And then you had a couple of people who did have mental illnesses. Penguin has got some issues. Nothing but issues, basically.
Penguin, my little bird baby. I love him so much.
So there's, but then what is there to contrast that? You've got Jim Gordon, who's basically just a normal guy. Like his role is to be as normal as possible, but like aggressively.
Aggressively normal. Oh my god.
Right? Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. I just love that term so much because it's so right. Like he's just Jim Gordon, aggressively normal. Like
yes. That's it. So that is not funny. That's not fun for me. That's like watching people who are not on Tumblr complain about people who are on Tumblr. That's what that is.
I'll give you that. Like I don't know what it is I like about it so much. I just like I'll give like the opposite of Franzi in this case. Like I like the acting in Gotham. It is overdone and it is campy, but I feel like that's kind of appropriate for Gotham in terms of like it's kind of that start of those costumes and those larger than life characters, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Franzi points that out. They act by overacting in Gotham, but I agree with you that you kind of have to have that in Gotham. If you aren't overacting in Gotham, then you're just going to turn into CSI SVU. So that's not. We already have CSI SVU.
Yeah, I love little baby Bruce and little baby Selena Kyle.
Yes, Bruce and Selena Kyle. If they were just them, if it were like 100% focused on their adventures, I might be more into it. Yeah, like it makes no sense canonically at all, but it's fun. To watch.
I don't think it was supposed to either.
I don't know. Beats me. Scozio says in the chats, I'm with John Green in all of this. Batman is just a rich man with an affinity for bats.
Fair.
Yeah. Oh, also Baby Ivy. Francie points out Baby Ivy.
The kids are really good. I thought like those were really smart. I like the adults too, but
like if that was what we were about, if it weren't about freaking gangsters who were being evil to each other, and if it were just about like kids, their perspective in Gotham, that might be a fun show that I would enjoy.
Right.
Bah. Yeah, you know, the weird thing about Batman is that he has access to money. He could do whatever he wants with that money, like making Gotham a better place.
Right.
But instead, he dresses up like a bat and punches people. On the Marvel side of things, the rich guy who's got problems and could do whatever he wants with his money, but doesn't, is Tony Stark. Except Tony Stark actually kind of does do something good with his money. Like he'll often like he keeps on making all these things for the betterment of people, like energy sources and stuff, and he gives that out to people who need the energy sources, or like taking out the weapons that he previously helped put out in the world. He like removes them from the market. Like those are things that are actually for the betterment of mankind. And instead of just putting on, you know, various forms of clothing and punching people, he puts on an armor because he realizes that he could die.
I think, yeah, that's the difference between Tony Stark and Batman and the worlds they live in as well, is that, like, Tony Stark is not... I think Batman has been very afflicted by a trauma, losing his parents very graphically in front of him. And Tony Stark lost his parents as well, but it's not as... He's definitely more of a logical, like, I'm going to do this way. And he's very... I don't know the right word for it, but whereas Batman is very idealistic and very, like, I'm going to be the justice in the night, and I'm going to punch Gotham into decency.
Well, the weird thing is, what you're seeing is that you're seeing two people who have almost the exact same properties to them, characteristics to them, but one of them is raised very privileged. That's Tony Stark. And the other one is raised in a shithole, and that's Bruce Wayne. Like, they're both rich, they're both white, they both have access to whatever the hell they want to do with their lives, but one of them just like rolls around having fun in his privilege, Tony Stark, for all of his life up until his heart gives out on him. And Bruce Wayne is just like miserable in like filthy alleyways and like thinking about criminals who killed his parents and stuff, obsessing over that. Like, that's the privilege is the only difference there.
That's interesting you say that though too, because like, I mean, Bruce Wayne was still rich when he was a kid. I guess it's probably just the whole murdering your parents getting murdered in front of you thing that probably is the
and that setup is not that setup doesn't make sense for a rich white kid.
It doesn't.
Rich white kid having his parents killed in an alleyway makes zero sense in 2015. That would never happen. It's possible that his parents might like die in a private jet crash. Yes, that makes sense. It is possible that his parents might get shot up by someone who hates what they've done with their company. It's possible. Or like in a terrorist attack. But in an alleyway, there's no way in hell that a rich family is going to walk from a theater through an alleyway. It's just not especially if they're white, especially if the neighborhood is sketchy. That's not going to happen.
I would never be in that neighborhood to begin with. Like, I'll just go ahead and say that. Like,
because like, I've actually thought that, like, of all the DC characters who could be race changed, race bent, Batman's family would be perfect for that. It feels like a rich family of black people who like made their way from a decrepit neighborhood through like working hard or whatever, or maybe like some great invention or whatever. And because of that, they became rich. Then it would kind of make sense because they might go back to the neighborhood they came from to visit it, to see what happened of that. And then shit could go down. That makes sense.
Especially
basically, I think that Batman should be a black person.
Well, especially when like you consider like how large Wayne Industries is, like that's the implications are that's a generations company. That's not just like one day Bruce Wayne's dad woke up and started a company. So they could probably redo all of Batman if they wanted to.
Yeah, they could.
The murder was a ploy to get rid of him. That's the theory in Gotham. Yeah, it was like the Waynes weren't gonna do the mafia war thing, so they got murdered. Spoiler alert.
Do they say in Gotham what Wayne Industries does?
Oh, I think it's like bioengineering versus like the Stark Industries, like planes and stuff and like weapons. I think the implication is they do more like the biomedical. Of course, it's never really clear. I think the writers also sat down. They're like, "So guys, what does Wayne Industries do?" And like there was just like kind of a stuff. Like it.
That's such a white person way of telling that story, because you just kind of, as a white person growing up, especially in the United States, you just kind of think that some people are rich, period, and you don't question that. They just are rich.
That's so true. Yeah, they do stuff. I think I Googled it once because like, what does Wayne Industries do? Because Stark Industries, it's very clear like what Stark does. I mean, not very clear, but you can go, oh, he does like technology stuff. Like I get that, but like Wayne Industries, it's like, do they own real estate? How do they run that city so much? And I Googled it, and it was kind of, even the Wikipedia was like, they do stuff. Like,
Francie in the chat says everything. They do everything.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the implication, was that Wayne Industries just owns a lot of stuff.
Well, you know what the real life analog to that would be is the Trumps. Like, imagine if Donald Trump and his wife were taking their daughter to a movie theater, and then leaving the theater, Donald Trump and his wife got killed, and their daughter had to see that. You think that she would grow up to be Batgirl?
I hope to live in that world.
I don't know that it would happen. I think she should just pay for therapy and move on with her life.
Yeah, probably. Probably have some big charity to like prevent, like, I don't know, help underprivileged neighborhoods or something. Like,
maybe.
Hi, I was negatively affected by this, so now I'm gonna try and fix it. But there would be no vigilante.
No, I don't think so. I mean, especially considering Donald Trump is as racist as he is, probably his daughter would just be like,
bulldozer to the ground.
Like, whether or not the people who killed her parents were not white, I'm sure that she would just say that they were not white.
She would just go back to the neighborhood and just make a Trump building right there.
Yes, exactly.
Just bulldoze it and just start over.
So the real life version of Batman would suck, because basically it would just be the Trump daughter saying "F you" to that neighborhood, plowing it down, and putting up a new building, putting her name on it, and then like paying for therapy, and that would be it.
In that building. Yeah, rich people in real life actually kind of suck. Like, when you think about it, because I think that's the most logical. Like, she would be mad about it. She would clear out that neighborhood, and she would just build like condominiums.
Yes, that sounds like it would actually happen.
Yeah, like
it could happen now.
Yeah, like that's exactly like what I think would happen.
In the chat, Francie says that she loves the word vigilante. I think that there should be. You remember how that one? Shoot, I should remember her name. The representative who stood in like sneakers and did a filibuster.
Oh yeah, Wendy Davis.
Wendy Davis doesn't break any laws, as far as I know, but she does fight really hard for the common person and particularly for women's rights. And so, can we like modify that and use the word vigilante, or is that too much? Is that going too far?
I personally love it, but I don't know. Maybe other people wouldn't like it too much.
It might be a little crass.
Yeah, see, I love puns, so vigilante, I'll go with it.
Cat in the Garden says, I think they built a lot of the railway transportation systems. Oh, interesting. I could see that. Yeah, Wayne Industries being behind the transportation systems. Yeah, it makes sense.
Siri, what does Wayne Industries do? Oh, it changed it. No, not Going Industries. Wayne Industries. You know, Batman. Gotta Google it now. Oh.
While you were doing that,
type things.
Stupid Apple products. While you're investigating, Francie says in the chat, "What kind of vigilante would you be without supernatural powers?" Is that like a restriction? No supernatural powers? We're not allowed to have that? I mean, if I didn't have supernatural powers, I wouldn't be a vigilante because I'm a coward.
True. Like, my dad, he works in like the police force, and like just hearing like what those, I mean, and of course, all the negative stuff aside, the danger that you could potentially face fighting crime, there is no way, unless I had like mind melding powers, that I would do it.
Sarah joins us in chat. Hi, probably Sarah.
Hello, Sarah. Fictional company history.
While you are doing that, I'm going to run to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
All right. So I'm busy for entertaining all you people. Wayne Corp was founded in the 17th century, but officially became a company in the 19th century under Alan Wayne. It has grown to become one of the top 10 multinational conglomerates. Today, Wayne Corp continues to achieve excellence across a wide range of industry sectors and markets, employing some 170,000 people in 170 countries. The current CEO and chairman, Bruce Wayne, is a keen modernizer and continues to grow the business in the financial sector and high-end technology. So, stuff. Wayne Aerospace, Wayne Technologies, Wayne Foods, Wayne Shipping, Wayne Yards, Wayne Industries, Wayne Biotech, Wayne Medical, Wayne Electronics, Wayne Entertainment. Wayne Construction, Wayne Chemicals, Wayne Steel, and the Wayne Foundation. Okay,
I'm back.
Hello, I Googled it. Wayne Industries does indeed do stuff. They're like a big conglomerate. So Wayne Foods, we're charging way too much. So yeah, according to it's
that is a good pun that we should not skip over. Francie says Wayne Foods, we're charging way too much.
Yeah, they do everything. They do foods, they do chemicals, medicine, technology. They're a big conglomerate is what it sounds like.
Scozio plays off that and says, Wayne too much.
Wayne too much. How much are they charging? Wayne too much. That's beautiful.
That is good.
And also Francie said that we could be vigilantes with like advanced technology and stuff like that is allowed. Just no like
Okay. So a la Batman and Iron Man sort of thing. I mean, if I could be Iron Man, I would definitely be Iron Man.
I'm trying to think of like I've always wanted to be an X-Man, but it's probably because I really like the idea of being Mystique, but I'm not allowed to have like supernatural powers. So
well, Mystique isn't supernatural; she's a mutant.
Loopholes.
Loopholes.
Yeah,
and for that matter, you could potentially become a Mystique through bioengineering, even.
It's probably because I dye my hair so much. I just love the idea of being able to just
be able to change your hair color whenever you want.
Not have to deal with bleach. That's a superpower.
That is excellent. But yeah, like what is that thing? I think there's like a saying on the internet about always be yourself unless you can be somebody.
Yep, then always be that somebody.
Yeah. And that structure is a fine one, and for me, it would be Iron Man. Yes.
I don't know. Like, my favorite comic book hero or comic book person of all time is Harley Quinn. So maybe I'd be Harley Quinn for a day to see what that's like.
Harley Quinn's got some baggage, though. That's not that rough character to play.
That'd be rough. Like, even in the new 50, like the new story she's in, I should say the new 52, but the new story she's in, Sans Joker, she's still pretty. That's rough.
I mean, everything about Harley Quinn is like, even though she acts fun and genial, her psyche is messed up. And
like from like start to like even pre-Joker, like it wasn't like allegedly the story that set up for her is that she comes from like a super poor family and she just studied the hell out of everything to be a doctor, and then she's a doctor in Arkham, and then she meets Joker, and that just it's everything. She's day one.
Yeah. I think it's I think my friend B talks about how Harley, like her essential part of her character is that she's like an abused character. She's an abused person, and that is like an essential component of her personality. And so her track record is of being in bad relationships.
That's not wrong. And the new comics are trying to fix that. Like, I haven't kept up with it so much, but when I read like the first 8 issues, like she actually seemed to be doing pretty okay for herself, which I enjoyed. I like that Harley a lot better than Joker obsessed Harley. I'll say that.
I mean, I don't think I like the new appearance of Harley. It's way too sexualized. But
I'll give you that.
But I think that she had a little story arc with Black Canary being pregnant. Is that right?
Yeah, that was in her series, but yeah, it's like something else. And yeah.
And that arc was cool. That was a very women banding together against the shit in the world story arc, which is exactly the kind of thing I like to see.
Yeah, it was a good arc. Isn't Harley Ivy I think it is in the new comics, but not explicitly.
It is. I believe it's. I don't know if it's explicit in the stories, but on Twitter, the creators of that comic series said that it is canon.
Rad.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, because from what I read in that new series, that was actually a good relationship. Like that was as healthy as I guess it could be, like a relationship.
For a pair of people who both are mentally ill and severely untreated, it's as healthy as it could be.
Yeah, they tried their best.
Speaking of comic couplings that are canon, Nickelodeon tweeted yesterday about Korasami scenes, which I thought was fantastic.
That's amazing.
I was all about that. That was great. Yes, Nickelodeon, well done.
I love what that show, and I didn't keep up with it, but I love how that show handled Asami, because at any point she could have been an evil, like bad, flipped over, and it didn't happen. And I was rooting for Asami for day one, and Yeah.
I just did a rewatch with my friend B online. I just did a rewatch, and it's funny how like it's kind of something that you could pick up the first couple of seasons, but by like season 3, it's like they're throwing it at you, and in season 4, it's so flippin' obvious what's gonna happen. It is so obvious. But I honestly, I was one of the clueless people who didn't notice it the first time around. Like, I wasn't shocked by the ending of book 4. It made sense. It felt right. But I didn't realize how much they had foretold that in every episode up until that point.
Yeah, I think thinking back to how like neither Bolin nor Mako really seemed to work ever, which was kind of strange because usually there's Endgame, and I thought like Korra Mako was Endgame for the longest time, and I was just like,
well, on the rewatch, I realized that pretty much any time Korra had any sort of emotional distress, she went to Asami.
yeah.
And anytime Mako was around either of the two of them, there was always like a bit of awkwardness, like, dude, it's not gonna happen.
Right.
That is in the past. No. Oh, it's great. Oh God, it's already been almost 2 hours. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been
All
2
right
hours.
then. Is there any stuff that you want to talk about before we wrap up?
I don't know. I really just came into this. I was just really happy you asked me to do it. And you know what? Here's the thing I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Being, you're half Asian, right?
Yeah, I'm Asian American. I'm Korean American.
Oh, but you're full Korean American?
How can you be full Korean American?
Well, like, I'm like half Japanese, half like, I'm talking like ethnic mix. Like, I guess I'm probably not terminology, but like my mom's Japanese and my dad's white.
Gotcha.
Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, are you biracial? Mixed race?
I'm not really sure. I'm adopted.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I always...
My mother, my adopted mother, was a North Korean refugee woman who married a white man from Kansas who was stationed in Korea. And the two of them tried to have kids and couldn't have kids. And so they went to the military hospital in Korea and told the people there that they were looking to adopt. And they found a family that were willing to give me up. And so I got adopted by them.
Cool.
But I myself was also mixed race, just like they are two different races.
Yeah, you were brought up that way. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Because I always love talking to people who are like me, mixed race, especially just the experience you have, I guess, is a good way of putting it. Because, like, for me, I grew up in a very white neighborhood, very Mormon area, and I was always...
Did you say Mormon?
Mormon, like, LDS, yeah. Like, and, like, it wasn't overwhelming, but, like, our school dress code was based off of, like, Mormon stuff. Like, we couldn't have straps that were more than 2 inches, like...
Oh, my God.
Or less than 2 inches. Like, it had to be real, like shorts that were no more than 6 inches above the knee, skirts that were no more than 4 inches above the knee, like very modest. And, you know, how homogeneous that whole thing was, and being often the only Asian person in a room. Like, did you kind of share that experience?
I grew up a little bit in Maryland, but I remember that when I was in Maryland, I guess it was first grade and second grade. When I was in Maryland, first grade and second grade, it was mostly white people around me. But I didn't really think of my own race. I didn't like recognize my race as a thing. But then from the middle of second grade on until just before high school, I was going to U.S. Army high schools on a U.S. Army military base in Korea. And what that means is that whenever I was in school, I was surrounded by everybody, like every color of skin, every background of nationality. There were like French people and German people and Chinese people and Japanese people, like everybody, because they were people who had one way or another, they joined up with the U.S. military and then they got stationed in Korea. So the people who were stationed in Korea at the time were from all over the place. So I didn't really understand racism. Like, I saw it on the imported TV shows from the United States into Korea. I would see things like on episodes of like Different Strokes reruns. There was like racism in there. And I was like, what? Why are they being treated badly? I don't get it. Because in my classes, I'd be surrounded by people of all sorts of different shades and ethnicities, and none of us were treated any worse than any others. The nerds were picked on. The chubby kids were picked on, but nobody was picked on because of their skin color or where they were from or what they believed.
Huh.
So that was my experience all the way up until I finished 8th grade, and then my father came back to the United States, and we were stationed in Maryland from 9th grade through the rest of high school. And in high school, I discovered that people still use slurs for ethnicities, and I got them, and it was weird. It was like I went from a place where I didn't really, I legitimately feel like I didn't experience racism, to a place where there was tons of racism. I was like one of 4 Asian people in my class.
Right.
In my class of 333 at high school. So that was weird.
Yeah, like I definitely like where I grew up, and like no one was necessarily maliciously racist, if that makes sense. Like no one was going out of their way to be racist, but they definitely were. And like it came up in history lessons, and like especially like in high school we actually talked about that stuff. Oh God, I hated anytime Pearl Harbor came out. I hated from 9th grade through 12th grade. I hated talking about it because I would be very upset about like internment and stuff like that, and I'd talk about it, and then immediately after internment we would talk about Pearl Harbor, or it kind of comes up, and I would get told that internment wasn't a big deal, but then I would get kind of not blamed, but people would always just say, oh, like your people did that in Pearl Harbor. But because my dad's white, if I ever try to talk about like anything like, Japanese or whatever, well, you're half white, right? And I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're not allowed to take possession of either identity.
You are, yeah.
You experience gatekeeping against both.
Mm-hmm. And like it's weird because like I'm everyone's Japanese friend up until I talk about something that's actually uncomfortable to talk about, and then I'm white.
That's some bullshit. Francie says in the chat, everybody made her feel other when she was little. Most of the times with things like calling her milk coffee and other light brown foods like that. That sucks.
That happens a lot. People and like kids don't mean it, but like when the adults let the kids keep doing it is when it becomes the issue, I guess. Because when you're little, you don't know any better, and you say things that make sense, like milk coffee. That would make sense. But when the adults don't step in and say, "No, don't," like, yeah, I know Francie gets it in terms of like, you only get to be the convenient race, I guess is a good way of putting it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to this day, I know that I am actually a person of color. I am not white, but I just don't identify that. I never say that. I never try to speak from that position. And it's not like it's not as if I have not experienced discrimination, but the discrimination that I have experienced hasn't endangered my life, hasn't kept me from making money, hasn't kept me from accessing some part of society that I wanted to access. It's just been shitty. It's just been shitty, and then I moved on.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I agree. Yeah, like nothing I've experienced has been anything more than just like shitty.
Yep. But so I get to like I experience racism light is what I experience.
Yeah.
I get to see all the effects of it, but I don't have to suffer the effects of it. My position is not one where I'm held back from embracing one side of my background or another side of my background. My experience is that I'm nowhere. Like I don't feel like I have a background. I'm just like I don't identify as white.
Right.
Because the white experience is not something that I ever had, but I haven't suffered through any oppressive experience either. So I feel like I'm nobody in a lot of ways. I feel like and it's not because any individual person has done that to me. It's because I've examined myself and I feel like I don't fit.
Right.
That's my experience.
My mom is similar because my mom was adopted, very similar to you, and adopted off a military base, but she was adopted by a Mexican man and a Japanese woman. And so her experiences, my whole like growing up experience has been like, I always like to like tri-racial in a way, because like I grew up Japanese because my grandmother is full Japanese from Japan. My grandfather is Mexican American, so I got to experience kind of all of that. And then my dad, his family is super white, and they're all white. Like, I think he's third generation German American or second generation German American. So
yeah, I think my father is too. I mean, based on our name, I could even guess that. His name is Ken. His name was Kenneth Roth. So he's his whiteness probably comes from Germany in some route or another.
I'm very obviously German. My last name is Gross, so like, you could even spell it with a little like, I don't know what to call it, but it looks like a B. Fancy.
Francie will know. Francie will know the German accents. Talking about this actually brings to mind the fact that my internet friend Allison has at I Like Allison online has teamed up with Josh Has Time at Josh Has Time. They're both YouTubers, and they are doing a collab channel with Asian people, basically. It's called the Lunch Club. It's called Lunch Club, and it's specifically supposed to be a. The chat has the accent mark appearing. Is that how you spell it?
I don't. I spell it with 2 S's, but I guess you could technically get away with, or maybe not. I don't know. Shoot. I'm not that German.
Yeah. So the Lunch Club. The Lunch Club is going to be a collab channel that is not about Asian American issues. It's not for that specifically. It's literally just open to anybody who has an Asian background. And hopefully it's going to be a comedy channel. And the idea about Lunch Club is that it's going to be a place for representation. So it's not like we're talking about being Asian. It's that we just happen to be Asian, and we're going to do a comedy collab channel. Cool. I say we. I don't know if I'll be involved. I'm going to try to audition for it, but it should be cool. The Lunch Club.
I always love stuff like that. I think like every time I've seen an Asian on screen in the last, I don't know, probably however long I've been consuming media, it's always been about being Asian. Like, even right after Fresh Off the Boat and Dr. Ken, like, it's about being Asian. I don't know how to put it.
Yeah. You know what? There have been one piece of media, one big piece of media that I've consumed in the last decade that contains Asians in an important role, but is not about them being Asian. And that's Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that movie. It's such a great movie. It's one of my favorites. Yeah. I think Scozio's asking who is in the Lunch Club. They're still auditioning. So right now it's just Josh and Allison, and they're doing auditions, and we will find out later on who is going to be in it. I'm hoping that they'll do some rotations so that it's not just the same 5 people. I mean, 5 people is great, but like there are so many Asians who could be doing this that if they did rotations, then it could be more than 5 people. But right now they're looking at like one person every week, every weekday.
Speaking of Asian representation, have you seen, and I don't know how much you would enjoy this, I'm a big sucker for cute stuff, so I really like it. It's called The Foozies, and it's Wong Fu Productions, and they do like a children's show.
No, I have no idea.
It is super cute. Like, if you have like any free time, it's like, I don't know, probably 11 minutes to an episode, and it's like Sesame Street, but it's done by Wong Fu, and they have a lot of different kind of YouTubers come in, and they do guest spots about like sharing and eating all your vegetables. It's very cute.
The Foozies.
The Foozies, because they're Wong Fu and Foozy and Fuzzy. It's great.
I'll look for it. It's awesome. There's a race and representation panel at VidCon that I'm looking forward to, and I don't know. There was a diversity panel last year that I attended. There was a diversity panel at VidCon last year, and had a couple of Black people and a couple of Asian people. And an Indian representation in the form of Superwoman, and it felt like it was very guided. Like, I'm not saying this is legitimately what happened, but it felt like YouTube, a sponsor of VidCon, decided that they needed to show that they were down with the representation for all the kids. And so they streamlined a panel wherein a representative from YouTube was the moderator. And he kept on saying things that kind of made YouTube seem like it was doing a good job with representation. YouTube sucks with representation. YouTube does a crappy job at highlighting people who are not white.
As you can tell by the way they did a nice even. There were 2 Asian, and there were 2 black people, and there were 2 like. And
during the diversity panel, I was very frustrated because, like, we all know what mansplaining is, right? And I'm a little bit afraid that I've done this video. I'm sorry for that, but we all know what mansplaining is. I feel like during the diversity panel last year, I experienced Asian-splaining because the 2 Asian guys talked over everybody. I wanted them to shut up so that somebody else could talk.
Yeah.
It was very frustrating for me.
Yeah.
Hopefully this year will be better.
Yeah, especially like being like the model minority. Like I feel like we feel like liaisons between like the POC world and like the white world. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is that there are racist structures set up that affect Asian Americans, but the structures, while they are exoticizing Asians, are oftentimes beneficial to us, and that's sucky, and I don't like that. Like if you look at the breakdown of how the gender wage gap happens, you'll see that white men definitely make the most, absolutely, yeah. But the person who makes the next most after white men are Asian American women.
Yep.
Like that's a big deal, and then Asian American men are right there as well. We all make pretty much the same amount of money, essentially. Not exactly, but pretty much the same amount of money. And then everybody else is behind us. So why are we getting the better end of this deal here? I think we are getting the better end of the deal because of racism in our favor in the workplace, and that's not good either. Like I want us to have equal pay, but only if we're having equal pay along with everybody else.
Yeah, well, it's not equal if only it's not really equal if only 2 people are getting it. It has to be everybody.
Yeah.
Let me explain what mansplaining is.
Nice.
Beautiful.
So my big thing was I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned the lunch club channel. I keep wanting to call it the lunch box, which is not what it is.
The lunch bunch.
The lunch bunch. That'd be great too. But no, it's a play off of the Breakfast Club movie title. So instead of being the Breakfast Club, it's the Lunch Club. And the explanation for it is that, a lot of us Asians, when we were kids in school, got made fun of for the stuff that we packed in our lunch boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I got made fun of for my kimchi all the time.
I became a spectacle whenever I would eat seaweed at school.
Oh,
it was like, I mean, you might as well have had people lined up and had an old timey circus announcer come on and watch the amazing Asian girl eat seaweed for 5 cents. It was. I mean, kids would gather around and I would eat it and be like, "How are you doing that? That's incredible!" And I'm just like, "It's seaweed."
Yeah. I same for me. Plus, I remember that all the kids would say when I was eating the seaweed with my rice, people would say things like, they would ask me if I'm eating fish because they'd say that it smells like fish.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I don't get that at all. I don't think seaweed smells like fish, but I heard that all the time. It's weird.
Yeah, even my dad. My dad's like, I don't know how you guys eat that fish toilet paper. What? Because me and my mom would always eat seaweed. My dad does not get it. He's like, that's it's gross. It smells like fish. It tastes like fish. I don't. And of course, my mom's just like, whatever. I'm gonna eat it, but yeah, I know. Or sushi. You ever take your white friends to sushi and some of them can take it, and other times they'll eat it and they freak out.
Yeah, I have a couple of white friends. Let me rephrase that. I've tried to date a couple of white girls where they've literally said that they can only have sushi if whatever it is cooked, which is fine. I mean, that's fine.
No, it's fine.
That's not sushi.
Yeah, no.
It's not.
Or like
Yes.
I'm like, it's very petty, but I get very upset when people refer to like teriyaki chicken as like Japanese food. Like I get there, I'm like, you're like, it's Japanese food. I love Japanese food. And I'm like, no, you like chicken and rice, which is fine. You can like chicken and rice, but that's not Japanese food.
No. My friend Alicia, who I believe is half white, half Japanese, she often, and she's a foodie as well. She would go to restaurants that are serving some brand of Asian food, like Japanese, Korean, Chinese, whatever. And she would occasionally hear white people ask for butter with their rice. And she would just get so pissed off at that whenever that happened.
Or ketchup with rice? That always doesn't make sense to me.
My father would always get fried rice and put ketchup on all over it.
I don't get ketchup and rice, like, period. Like, I just, it's not even like I'm offended as an Asian person. I just, as a person in general, I just don't, like.
As a person with taste buds, how dare you?
Like, yeah, like, what does that even, and then it always turned it pink because it's like red and white. And I'm always just like, what are you doing? Stop.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think you're going to keep on watching Fresh Off the Boat?
I don't know. Like, part of me enjoys the show as like just a show, but after seeing the whole Eddie Wong thing, and he's like, you know, that's not my life, that's not my story, I feel very conflicted about watching it because I want to support it because I want to see Asian representation on TV, but I don't want to support something that the creator so clearly is against, especially when it's such a mockery of what he actually wanted to do.
On the one hand, yes, I see what you're saying, but on the other hand, Eddie Wong is an asshole who like thinks that he can appropriate Black women's experiences. So I kind of don't mind screwing him over by appreciating the show.
Yeah, I didn't know that whole asshole part. I just knew about, like, he had made some big statement about, like, it's not my life, so it's good to know. It's good to know that I can, like, in my heart of hearts be like, but you're an asshole, so. Yeah,
I mean, it's a weird triangle of, like, racial tensions because on the one hand, just like you point out, I want to support the show for being representational of Asian people on TV. That is a great thing, and it's not as if any of those actors are at fault for anything that's going on. They're just like doing their job, and I want to support them. Like, I have a job, good.
Yeah, especially being an Asian actor, like having a job is like.
Yeah. So I want to support that, but then I found out that Eddie Wong hates the show because of how they made it, despite the fact that it being allegedly his show. He hates it, and then I thought, wait a minute, if he hates it, should I support it? And then I found out that he tries to say that that him as an Asian man in Hollywood is emasculated so that he's basically like a Black woman.
And then
like that was his statement.
And then he went and said that.
Yeah. So I don't care about you, Eddie Wong. I cared about you until you said that, and now I don't.
That's always so.
Yeah. So if I've got a choice between supporting Asian actors on a show that I find pretty funny, and you know, a lot of that stuff is stuff that I do in fact relate to as an Asian American in the United States. If I have a choice between supporting all that good stuff or supporting an Asian creator who appropriates the experiences of Black women, yeah, I want to support the show.
Then yes, I will keep watching. Yeah, I didn't know that other half, so yeah, I will keep watching it then because I enjoy it. I relate to it. Even though my mom doesn't have the accent because she was raised on like a military base, like a lot of the Asian mom stuff is still very true. Like
my mom actually had a very strong accent, so that part is fine for me.
Like my grandma does. Now my grandma has a very, and I think as she gets older, it gets heavier. Mm-hmm. Like she's very, oh my God. And like, you know, anyone's in trouble because she'll hear, oh. That's a very distinct, like Asian mom.
My aunt would do the same thing.
They see something they don't like and they just go, oh, and like they just.
Yep. Yeah, I'm very familiar. I got some goosebumps. I thought I was in trouble for a second when you said that.
Right? Yeah, like, oh, and then like they did it like, yeah.
Yes. Wait, that's not just a Korean thing?
No, that's a very common, like, now Japanese moms in general are not very disciplinary towards their kids, but like my mom missed that memo. My mom missed that memo big time. I'm a very well-behaved child.
Yeah, my mom was a strict disciplinarian too. Oof. Anyway.
That got dark for a second.
Yeah, I gotta get my head out of the Asian discipline thoughts.
Yeah.
No, I'm an adult now.
I'm a grown
I can do what I
man.
want, Mom.
It's funny because like my dad's actually probably the stricter one between my parents, between like my mom and my dad. My dad's actually probably the stricter one.
So no dragon mom stereotype in your family?
No, more like eagle dad. Like because my mom she took high school for what it was. She took high school pretty average, but my dad was like a super high achiever in high school and like always followed the rules, took physics for fun kind of stuff, valedictorian. And like I did not necessarily follow that path. Like I was pretty good in school, but like I did not always follow that trajectory. And so there was a lot of like, you're an A student, why are you not getting A's?
Yeah, I mean, sadly, I did get just that from my mom. Yeah, she didn't like she was an adult in Korea. She grew up in Korea, so she didn't assimilate to the United States culture or anything. So all she knows is if there's a possibility that you could get a best performance mark of whatever kind, she doesn't understand it if I don't get it.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily like very like my dad never like sat me down and like forced me to study or anything, but it was always just like you could do better. You could do better. And that was always the constant like I'm doing the best I can.
Oh, parents.
Oh, parents.
I think we've gone on long enough. Thank you so
All right.
much for joining me in this live show.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
I hope you had fun.
I did.
Excellent. So do you think after this you will do some more vlogs when your work life calms down?
I hope. I enjoy vlogging. It's just I am so tired afterwards. You see, you come home from work and dealing with all these old people and their coupons and they're yelling at you, and you go, I'm gonna not vlog. I'm gonna take a nap.
I know that feel. Yeah. In Twitter, Francie tweeted us the video about I am a Hufflepuff, I think.
Oh, cool.
I think that's it. So we could check that out. And I think people can find you probably mostly on Twitter of all the various social platforms. Is that right?
I'm always on Twitter. You can always tweet me.
So you're at the Kiku Marie on Twitter.
I'm at the Kiku Marie at everything. If you want to find me, I am branded, so I am the Kiku Marie everywhere.
Well done. Good for you. I am at Paladin everywhere. Yeah, Paladin. That's my branding.
Red.
Did you ever just devise like a outro or a sign off when you were doing your vlogs?
Not really. I usually just go, hope to see you guys around soon, and then I kind of salute my way off.
Well, that works here too. Excellent.
Right.
Thank you all. Thank you everybody who participated in the chat. Thank you for watching this video either live or later on, or if you listen to it in podcast form, thank you for listening to my PaulCast. I'm Paul Roth. Thank you, Kiku Marie. And tomorrow will be even better. Bye. Bye.